Harmonics. Welcome again to the Profitable Farmer, where we teach you how to be more profitable, how to grow better crops, how to make more money, how to reduce your input costs, and all those good things. And I've been talking a lot over the past several weeks about the research and development tax credit, but that's mainly for American farmers. And I know the people from all over the world watch the show, so I'm not going to beat that with a dead horse, as we say. But what I do want to talk about in terms of being more profitable is something that I was kind of learning as I was talking to one of our representatives. One of our representatives was discussing, what he's been doing and how he's been approaching this, and it kind of made me think. And I wanted to share it with everybody here. It made me kind of realize that, what we're doing here at Harvest Harmonics is not simply just selling a product. It's not just, okay, hey, I've got a product for you and I want to sell it to you. What we're doing is it's really what we call a paradigm shift. Now, paradigm is just an existing or established way of thinking, right? It's sort of like it goes by a number of different names, zeitgeist or spirit of the age or, prevailing wisdom, whatever you want to call it. But essentially, a paradigm is an existing understanding or viewpoint in the world. So in agriculture, what we're looking at is if you want to get a good crop out, you need good seeds, you need chemicals, chemical fertilizers, you need pesticides. There's certain things you need to do, and there's sort of a knack to it in a way of doing things, right? That's well established. And the paradigm really is that if you want to increase yields, you need to add fertilizers and you need to utilize chemicals because those chemicals are going to be, on the one hand, they're going to provide the plant with the nutrients, those elemental nutrients that the plant needs. And on the other side, they're going to fend off insects and funguses and pests and things that would normally destroy plants or otherwise destroy fruit and reduce your yields, right? So that's the prevailing wisdom. The prevailing wisdom is, hey, because believe me, we've talked about our crop booster, we've talked about Harvest Harmonics for this last 6-7 years when we were in our R&D phase, and then even when we launched the product, we were still talking about this as a product. And because we were talking about increasing crop yield, we just kept getting everybody thinking, oh, well, what kind of chemical is it? What kind of mineral is it? Is it nitrogen? Is it phosphorus? Is it potassium? What is it doing, right? Is it improving? Is it water treatment? And it's all these things. And, we just kept, pounding our head against this wall, right? And it really just dawned on me. I mean, it dawned on me a little while ago, but it really came home when I was talking to one of my representatives today about some of the challenges he's having in terms of generating interest in this product. Because at the outside, from our viewpoint, it's like it's a little challenging sometimes to wonder why everybody's not just jumping on board with this, why people aren't just looking at the results that the crop booster is providing and just jumping all over it and just saying, oh my God, I want this on my whole farm. Prevailing wisdom would be, hey, if something really works and it's really good, it should just be flying off the shelves. Everybody should be buying it. Everybody should be throwing money at it. Universities should want to be studying it, but that's not really the way it works, unfortunately. And the reason in our case why it's not working that way is because we're kind of butting up against or going against an existing method of thought, an existing mode of thought. That existing mode of thought is to get improvements in crop yield and crop health, you need to use chemistry, chemicals, right? And that prevailing wisdom is not necessarily wrong, but it's also not necessarily the best outlook. For example, when we look at the chemical model, what we're really looking at is how to force the plant to sort of have enough. We're sort of overfeeding the plants, if you will, in many cases with nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium because we're trying to make up for inefficiencies in the system, right? The microbiology in the soil has become very inefficient at taking nitrogen and carbon out of the air and making them available to the plant. Because of that inefficiency, we're trying to overcompensate by adding nitrogen and carbon and other things to via soil amendments and inputs, right? We're running into situations or cyclic things where sometimes weather conditions are not very conducive to crop growth, right? So you have too hot or not enough water, and so we add irrigation to sort of supplement the water and give the plant what it needs, right? These approaches are not wrong, again, but they're not always the most efficient. And what the researcher Fulvio Bamelli developed in terms of the crop booster technology is a way to make plants more efficient. So we're not looking at it overstimulating the plant or compensating for the inefficiencies that plants have in their natural environment. What we're looking to do is actually make the plants more efficient. Let's return the plant to efficiency. Let's return the plant and soil to their natural, efficient method of action so that the plants can grow and produce fruits and vegetables and good quality the way we all want, but without having to add so much chemicals and add so much nutrients and all this stuff. Because adding all those inputs gets expensive, as any farmer will tell you. So I want to share with you just not an entire presentation, but just a small section here, because I think what you're going to see here is an easy way to look at this. So what our crop booster does is increase the energy production in plants. And we do that by stabilizing and rebalancing and retuning the natural processes of the plant so that photosynthesis becomes very, very efficient. Now, again, when we're looking at chemistry, it's sort of everybody already knows. If the plants need nitrogen, they need phosphorus, they need potassium, they need water, etc. Right? But let's take a look at energy. And if you look at a plant with low energy versus a plant with more energy or high energy, so plants with more energy, they grow faster and stronger than weaker plants. Right? They produce more fruits and vegetables than plants with low energy. Right? They produce higher quality fruits and vegetables. Okay. They resist insects and pests and funguses more efficiently, right? So if a plant has more energy and its metabolism and process of photosynthesis is working, then it's going to resist insects, and insects will start to go elsewhere. We've seen this over and over and over again. And there's a lot of good scientific research that goes into how plant bricks, or the amount of sugar and energy contained in the plant, affects certain types of insects. And I can share links to those if you like in the bottom of this video. Plants with more energy also feed microbiology in the soil. So a lot of times we understand that there's a soil network of microorganisms that help the plants contact and absorb nutrients and water more efficiently, right? The plant's roots may only go a few inches into the ground, but it has microbiology that affixes itself onto the root system, and they dramatically extend the root system, sometimes several feet down into the soil. And they really dramatically increase the plant's ability to contact and absorb the nutrients and water that they need. But in order for those microbiology to do all that work, the plants have to feed them. Plants produce sugar, and they send some of that sugar down through the roots into this soil so that the microbiology gets the sugar and energy they need. And then those microorganisms go out and they find phosphorus and they find potassium, and they find other minerals in the soil, and they bring them back to the plant because the plant needs those minerals in order to photosynthesize, right? But that process has kind of been short-circuited by the overuse of chemicals, especially chemical fertilizers. So plants with more energy are also more resilient to weather and other stress factors. So if you ever have seasons where you have a lot of heat stress for a long period of time, yes, you can add water to it, but you're never going to completely overcome that stress. And when the plants have more energy, they're more resistant and resilient to these different stress factors. So if all of these things are true, though, if plants that have more energy can do all of these things, which is really covering the majority of what farmers are trying to do by pesticides and herbicides and fertilizers and all these other things. So if a plant that has more energy can do all of these things, then the obvious question becomes, how do we boost energy in the plant? Okay, and obviously traditional agriculture, again, has been looking at fertilizers and other things, but our answer is through biophysics. Okay, now biophysics is a very, very efficient way to stimulate plant growth and plant health. In fact, we don't use any chemicals of any kind in our system. And that really is the big shift in thinking between the chemical-based model of agriculture and a physics-based model of agriculture. Because you can actually, and we found this out, but we can actually use the laws of physics to stimulate plants and help accomplish the energy production and photosynthesis much more efficiently, just by retuning and rebalancing those processes in the plant. Now, in biophysics, what we've learned is that just by handling the timing of these different processes involved in photosynthesis, everything from water and mineral absorption in the roots to carbon dioxide absorption in the leaves, the use of sunlight, the change into sugars, molecules, all of these different processes are not just random processes. The plant has to utilize these processes in specific orders and specific times in order for the plant to generate energy efficiently. And if it's not efficient, it's not going to generate energy. It's just not going to have the right materials at the right times to be able to do the conversions necessary to generate sugar molecules, right? And we've discovered this through our advanced research. And a lot of this research is already known. What hasn't been known is how do we actually utilize these physical interactions in the plant to stimulate them. And that's exactly what our crop booster technology is all about. We've taken these little inefficiencies at the cellular level of the plant, and through the use of physics and specifically harmonics, we're able to retune those interactions so that the cells can communicate with each other more efficiently, and so that they can get nutrients and water and other the raw materials to where they need to go faster and more efficiently. So this technique has been around for a little while. In fact, we formally launched this in 2019, at the end of 2019, and are still rolling. We're getting a lot of university interest right now, with a lot of universities testing this. We're getting a lot of farms jumping on board with this year. And we're really just launching this in full here in 2023, because all of the work that we've done up to this point, building case studies, building university studies, getting white papers published, and getting peer reviewed process started on that, all of these different things are just preparing us for really what we want to do this year, which is introduce this to as many farmers as possible. Let us show you the benefits of the crop booster technology. Let us show you how much more efficient we can help you make your farming operation. And let's take everything that you're already doing correct, and let's make them stronger so that you get a better result. And let's hopefully let you take everything that maybe is not needed or is not an efficient way of growing, and let's slowly phase those parts out so you can become more efficient and more profitable for many years to come. I hope you take me up on my offer. Please give me a call here at 727-324-6750. You can also email me here at service@harvestharmonics.com, and we'll be happy to work with you, get you a quote, and work with you so that you can become part of the future of farming today. Hope to hear from you soon, guys. We'll talk.